So less than 40 days for the elections. This is your election headquarters, and the electorate have a voice and they are heard louder when they cast their ballot. But until then, what do they require of those who want their mandate to rule? Today, we cross over live to Salaga Market to find out what their concerns are. My colleague Abla De Souza is standing by. Hello, Abla. Hello, Abla.
Good afternoon. We are at the Salaga Market at the Ododio constituency on the Voters' Voice segment on your election center. Market men and women at this constituency have been on the streets for the past 14 years. This is because their market was destroyed with a promise that it was going to be constructed for them after 6 months. We have some of the market men and women here with me to tell us exactly what the situation is. And with me here we have the market queen, Elizabeth Norte. Elizabeth Norte is the market queen, and she's going to tell me exactly what the problem is.
Government short to ebahu ete afọ woda ameke wo fi campaign kamenta na voter ha me abake wake ka vote ha wo kenye vote nye ha wo kenye ba wo jala mi keke ke wo vote ha me na me ba amefo woda be wotashi ye street no afi nyuma ka dwene nyumo yiwo hunu hya wo bianto ne ko kwa wo se gota ko ni kaje bo na echoke ya hunto kanyongbo ne gogomi fa be nye wo hihye ye bie kamin kolo wo bianto ne wona ke campaign jino na ke wo fio she face won pamra lo efai ko ne bomoden ne ke wa wo jala me ja ke wo chigbe ye street e wo ha drivers agbe na ameho enne pe wo ke fo amra lo ehin ne fe ha wo.
We have also here with us Mrs. Bannerman Williams. Mrs. Bannerman Williams to also tell us her side of the story. Apart from Jalana Kumo.
And Nagba Bonoka City and Hunrensha, you were you on Agbagbo, who was Wanagawa Jalami. She near Fetmaka of a campaign. Ya and this speaker of Jala, running to be a minute about she is sitting in a beer. Lolo come be a car back after half an hour. Lolo come and walk back. I mean, if I couldn't go in a Jalami.
Noni one no hunjiake ake boni no mi me buashin ye jala ye na kumo no mi ona ke me buashin ye jala mi wa ni bona male bibio e me ni ahwe ye je me anye na me fa amahi twun bibio e mi bene no e woni ncho ni eha ni be market e delay me no ko ye na
oh e fe mi aka no hewo wo ba ho mi ka agbe na ha wo ba nyo ya mi Casa or I am pepe. Well, we are going to cano pepe or I am.
Okay. We also have here one marketsman, Mr. Odai. Mr. Odai will also tell us, his name is Odai. Mr. Odai will tell us exactly what the men of this market also think of the situation. We'll find it.
I don't know what to say because I'm very sad when I'm speaking of this market. Because promises upon promises. You don't know who is telling the truth, whether the A or the B. So now we ignore to speak, but due to some circumstances, that's why we are coming to here for the people to hear our voice. And this the oldest market, if I say in Ghana. So they don't supposed to neglect us. Even when there's no elections, you won't see anybody here. But at the time there's any election, then you see them coming around. Oh, don't worry, we do this to you. Believe me, if I come now. So we are calling on the Ministry of Local Government to come to our aid. Other than we will advise ourselves because we don't know what to talk again. Because even I'm too angry when I'm speaking of this market. But so many stations has interviewed me. I don't know. They are playing with us. So I don't have much to say about it.
All right, thank you very much. Well, you heard from the voters at Odododiodio in the Salaga market. Their plea is just one: construct the market for us, get us off the streets, stop using us for campaigns. Back to you, Kemini, in the studio.
Thank you very much, Abla, for that report live from the Salaga market. This is your election headquarters, and moving on, the Progressive People's Party says it strongly protests against the Institute of Economic Affairs exclusion of the PPP and the other three presidential candidates from its 2012 presidential debate. The party believes it is disturbing that the IEA continues to discriminate against the PPP and other political parties by insisting on the use of political parties with representation in Parliament as the criteria for selection of parties for its programs. The PPP thinks the criteria is highly prejudicial and needs to be discussed urgently with the entities that fund the IEA. Furthermore, such distinction contradicts our 1992 Constitution. We are joined in the studio by Deputy National Secretary of the Progressive People's Party, Pa Ko Akon, to talk about the issue. Now, the IEA has held the debates before, and the PPP has been invited. But then I notice also that you say the IEA insists on using parties with representation in Parliament. Tell me why this time you feel a bit sidelined.
First of all, let me thank you for this opportunity. We in the Progressive People's Party clearly think that the IEA has not been fair to us and to the other political parties. We believe that if there is any criteria to be used, collaboration or consultation should have been made with the Electoral Commission. We know that as we speak today, the Electoral Commission has legitimized 8 political parties, and today if anybody goes to the poll to vote, there are 8 political parties there that one can vote for any of them. So if the IEA today is saying that Dr. Indom, whom they ranked first in the 2008 debate, if today he's on a different political platform, why do you deny him the opportunity? And the issue is that if you listen to the IEA jingle, the jingle itself says that the essence of the debate is to provide opportunity to those who want to govern so that they can explain their programs and policies to the electorate, so that the electorate will be informed, or they can make an informed decision on that. So if that is the issue, the question we are asking is that amongst all the political parties, is it only the NDC, NPP, CPP, and PNC? Are they the only ones who want to govern? Or there are other political parties who equally want to govern? If the answer is that there are other parties who want to govern, why do you create impression as if there are only 4 political parties in this country?
Now, I spoke to you earlier, and then you also, in fact, you mentioned it in your submission right now that he was ranked, Dr. Pakwesi was ranked first, and this time he's being sidelined because he's on the ticket, or for, how should I put it? He's being sidelined on the ticket of the PPP. Now, do you feel that some of the political parties are pulling strings somewhere because they feel threatened?
No, we actually don't feel threatened at all.
Not you, as in you feel some of the other political, those who are participating are pulling strings because they feel threatened by Papa Kwesi Indom.
Of course. Today, if you are looking for a competent leader to lead this country, everybody knows it's Dr. Pakwesi Indom. I'm not saying this because I belong to the PPP. It is a fact. Today, if you are looking for someone who has clarity of thought, it's about Dr. Indom. Listen to all of them. What is it that they are talking about? The PPP started this campaign when the party was officially launched in February. And we came out clearly as to what we would do or would want to do for this nation.
Right.
We indicated our 4 pillars: education, healthcare, jobs and stewardship or incorruptible leadership.
Right, but don't you agree that the IEA holds the sole right to also decide that, okay, for this debate, I would expect that only parties with representation in parliament to partake in this?
We don't begrudge the IEA.
So what is your problem then?
Our issue is that, you see, the IEA creates an impression as if they want to promote or strengthen democracy. If you want to strengthen democracy, you don't pick and choose. You don't do that. If you want to strengthen democracy, you give equal opportunity to those that the Electoral Commission has legitimized. And that we must stress on that. Because you don't say you're promoting democracy and then you leave some people out. Then what sort of democracy are you promoting?
But democracy sometimes has a price, and perhaps the price would be, okay, have representation in parliament. Why wouldn't the PPP work at having representation in parliament so that sometime you can beat the other candidates as well?
Clearly, we have the supreme law of the land, which is the 1992 Constitution. Today, the Constitution permits an independent presidential candidate to become president. How on earth will an independent presidential candidate have members in parliament? We run the executive system of government, and we must let people understand Ghana does not run parliamentary system of government where you need a certain number of members in parliament for you to become president. We don't have that.
Can't the PPP do without the IEA presidential debate?
Of course, we organize our own version of the evening encounter. Well, we did that perfectly, but
which you always do after the presidential debate. So what then? It seems to me as though you're capitalizing on it to make story.
No, we need to set the record straight. We are citizens of this country. We must defend the law. We must really safeguard what the law stipulates. If we don't do that, people will keep on using the name of this country to do things that really undermines what we have all agreed to.
So the IEA is using the name of the country to do things. We'll come to that. I'd just like to inform my viewers that very, very soon we will cross over to Tamale. Indeed, on your screens now, images from Tamale, where the IEA presidential debate will be taking place in a few hours at 6:30 p.m. this evening. And that is the auditorium that will be accommodating the people who come in to listen to some of the presidential hopefuls, which according to the IEA, you'd need to have representation in parliament in order to partake in this presidential debate. Right, so the presidential debate in Tamale takes place at 7 p.m. today, 6 hours from now. And those are images from Tamale. We will cross over and talk to our presidential correspondent in Tamale, but let's come back to the studio, and we still have Parko Akon, Deputy National Secretary of the PPP. You are also in Tamale. We'll come to the question I asked you earlier, but you are also in Tamale, and so is the IEA debate, and it's almost concurrently. Why?
No, of course, when we started this whole campaign, we had our timetable, and we are working according to what we have. The issue is that Dr. Indom was in Tamale last night. He's meeting polling station executives. We have said that we are putting in place 21 polling station executives in all the over 26,000 polling stations. And he was there last night. Today, he's going to continue. He'll be there tomorrow to talk to the polling station people. Of course, our message, we believe that the people who take the final decision are the people at the polling station level. So if Dr. Indom is there, that is what he's doing. He's speaking to our people. He's encouraging them that whether he is part of the IE or not, he still remains the most incorruptible leader today. He's a leader that Ghanaians are looking forward to, and he's a leader that come December 7th,
right,
Ghanaians will give him the mandate.
what are you, those who have been sidelined, intending to do about this?
Oh, well, I mean, there is little you can do. One of the platforms for which we have chosen is to issue a release and make a very strong statement on this matter. Sometimes it is interesting what people say. Some say, oh, Dr. Indom in 2008, he benefited from the debate, and at the time, he did not comment about it. Of course, but he was part of it. So if he did not comment, it doesn't mean today we as members of the Progressive People's Party cannot
I'm
comment.
concerned about that comment.
Cannot
because
comment.
if really he was part of it, so there was no need for him to comment. That's basically what you're telling me right now.
Yeah,
but if you have an issue, then you always have the issue. If yes, he was on the ticket of the CPP and the CPP had representation in Parliament, and he felt that it was wrong the others were being sidelined, didn't he? He still had the right, it's still that it had the opportunity to say that yes, there was something wrong with it. And so I'm concerned about that comment you just made.
The issue is that in 2008, Dr. Indom was part of the CPP, and he was not the official spokesperson for the party. If the party at the time decided not to comment, it doesn't mean that we in Progressive People's Party, we shouldn't talk about it. It is not Dr. Indom who is talking about this matter.
So Dr. Indom is fine by...
Dr. Indom, whether I hear debate or not, the people of this country have decided already. And the point is that enough of the NDC and the MPP. The people of this country are looking for a change that will reflect in their lifestyle.
Thank you very much,
They have never gotten this change, and the PPP
Thanks for coming through
the
midday brief on election headquarters this afternoon. We've been speaking to the Deputy National Secretary of the Progressive People's Party, Pa Ko Akon, and we will cross over to... Indeed, we are live at Tamale at the moment. We are crossing over to Tamale, where the IEA presidential debate takes place in less than 6 hours. We're talking to Gifty Apia Andor, our presidential correspondent, who is in the northern regional capital, Tamale, and indeed she is at the venue of the event. Good afternoon, Gifty. Good afternoon, Gifty. Gifty, what has been done and what hasn't been done at this critical moment?
Good afternoon, Kemini. If you can see, we're giving you... Good afternoon, Kemini. If you can see, we're giving you a backdrop of how the auditorium looks like. The auditorium...
Go ahead, Gifty.
So as I was saying, the auditorium is set. As you can see, we have 4 days there for the we have 4 podiums there for the 4 candidates, and they're all going to take each of the 4 will take one, and that is where they're going to be standing to be talking about their vision and mission, actually debating on their vision and mission for this country and for the quest of attaining the highest office in this country. As yesterday we told you how the setup here is like. Today, where I thought that they would use upstairs, but they're not going to use upstairs. They're just going to use the ground floor here, and we have about 400 seats in here, meaning that we're expecting about 400 guests in here. Outside in town, the political atmosphere is charged, as you'd expect. People in party colors, people in party t-shirt, people cheering, of course, cheering their candidates. That is the atmosphere in town right now. Over here, we've seen some of the political stalwart members of the NDC, members of the MPP, members of the PNC. We're here to talk to the PNC and we're there to talk to the PNC, but we've already spoken to the NDC and the NPP. I spoke to the General Secretary, Asia Dinketia, and what he was telling me was that this time around, they believe that the presidency has to be from someone from the north. I do not think that he's doing any... He's towing any ethnic lines, though, but he believes that the people in the north here expect that this time around, the seat of the presidency goes to someone from the north. And of course, their candidates, they believe, is the right person. We'll be taking you outside the auditorium right now. We want you to have a feel of the outside, although it is a little calm. But of course, security settings here are tight, and that is always expected whenever the president is involved. But inside here, this is how it's going to be this evening. We're going to have people packed up in here listening to their presidential candidates on their mission, their vision as they debate. So I've also been, as I said earlier, I've been talking to Asedun Ketia, and he has been telling me that they're going to talk about education, they're going to talk about employment, they're going to talk about creating jobs for the people. They're also going to be talking about healthcare. He told me that the political atmosphere here in Tamale in 2008 was quite tensed, and he believes that this time around there's calm. He believes that this time around those tensions have been calm, and as far as he is concerned, that is the best atmosphere. And he was telling me how his candidate is a good communicator and how they believe he's going to deliver to the expectation of the people. And then we spoke to the MPP. We spoke to Sheikh Isikwe, who is a stalwart of the MPP. And he has been telling us how eloquent his candidate is and how they believe he's going to deliver on education as well. Indeed, it has been, let's say, a battle of brains on education, educational policies, how people intend to, how they intend to carry out the mantle when they become president. We have with us here Dan Boche, is a member of parliament for the MPP. We'll try and talk to him, get his expectations for you as well. So he joins me here. Honorable, tell us, what are your expectations? We're looking at this evening's program.
I'm expecting a very good debate. The promo of IE, that those who want to lead the country should be prepared to be examined by the people. So I'm sure we're going to have a very lively debate today. Ghanaians are going to have the opportunity. They'll be listening to them on platform. Because on platform, you say what you want. But here, people are going to ask you a range of questions, and it's a way of assessing those who want to lead the country. And I think it's a very good exercise.
So we're talking about a good debate. What do you think goes into a good debate, especially when we have opposing parties coming together on one stage?
You have the opportunity to listen to different views. But at the end of the day, what is governance? Coming out of programs and policies that at the end of the day will go to improve upon the quality of life of the people. But we have different programs, how to achieve that. So we are going to have the opportunity to listen to various programs that the individual candidates have. And that is going to help us to be able to decide and make a right choice.
In your opinion, do you think these debates will do anything? Because most of the time you realize that people are more or less, they have their choice of presidential candidates already. Do you think it's going to change?
Well, we have something called undecided voters, or floating voters, as the people who want to put it. And I believe that people will be influenced by it. Those also who believe their candidates will now also be firm up that, yes, I've made the right choice and I'm happy that my candidate has delivered. But for the fact that people are presenting themselves and allowing ordinary people through questions to really examine them and hear from them various policies that they have to present, that alone in itself is a very good thing. And it's a very good exercise. We should encourage it. This is not the first time. I think it's going for the second or third time. It's something that we should deepen it. And it's an important exercise in strengthening democracy in our country.
Now let's look at personalities. Let's look at your candidates. Let's look at all the other candidates. What do you think? I don't expect you to say anything. But I expect you to be quite biased. But though, what do you think is the chance of your candidates against all these three other people?
Well, I don't know. It's not as if we're going to rate them and see. I'm personally not interested in that. My interest is the fact that they have submitted themselves to the debate or even to the exercise of being examined and listen to them. This you are not coming with your own question. People are going to ask you questions and you're going to, on the spur of the moment, have to answer it. That alone gives us a chance to answer. We watch other things. We listen to what happens in other countries. This will not be a debate in the right sense of the word, but at least it gives us opportunity for you to present your program, your platform, and explain and counter it with, balance it with other people's method or program. And that alone presents a very good atmosphere in deepening democracy in Ghana. And I think it's more, for me, it's more of that than comparing my candidate with other people. No. But at the end of the day, the broad Ghanaian voter will also make an assessment the way you want to go. I want to believe others will make that assessment. But for me, the important thing is that at least 4 key personalities who want to be given the chance to lead this country have presented themselves, have given us their platform, have explained the vision that they have and how they intend to achieve that. That in itself is a very good exercise for our democracy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Danbotre. So we've been speaking to Mr. Danbotre of the NPP, and he's been telling us how they believe this is a sign of deepening democracy. Yesterday, though, we spoke to some of the people here, some of the citizens of Tamale, and they tell us their expectations. They're expecting policies that talk about employment. They're expecting things that talk about sanitation, healthcare, and indeed education is almost a cliche now because it's all over the place. People talking about education, and indeed the political parties themselves have been having their own back and forth discussions when it comes to education. But one thing that the people of Tamale, I have realized, are quite passionate about is peace. They keep talking about peace. They keep talking about keeping an atmosphere that enables voting without intimidation. And they appear to be quite passionate about that. We believe that the candidates are going to pledge to leading their supporters to that peace that the people here expect. We don't have a lot of political players here right now. As you can see, we only spoke to the NPP, but we've already spoken to some of the NDC. We spoke to the General Secretary, General Mosquito, as we call him, and we also spoke to spoke to Sheikh Isikwe. We will get to you the CPP as well as the PNC. Let me also inform you, Kemini, that the PPP is in town. Although their presidential candidate is not part of this debate, he is in town. The information that I have is that he's here to campaign. He's here to tour the region and then hold a grand rally, if you like. And we wanted to find out from him why this time, because he's not part. Well, probably he wants his presence to be felt because political activities now, between today and tomorrow, political activities is going to be centered here in Tamale. So let me hand over to you, Kemini, now.
Right, thank you very much, Gifty. Gifty Ando Apia is my colleague here to Joy News, and she came to you live from Tamale, the venue for the IEA presidential debate. And indeed, this has been a special and extended edition of your election headquarters. We will bring you the IEA presidential debate live from Tamale at 7 p.m. In the meantime, goodbye. My name is Kemini Nyamani Amano.